book Secret Below 103rd Street. And this is a like when I look at this cover, this is another book that this is also something that I didn't see coming. I had this book in my stash, and it was always one of those that, man, that'll probably be one of the ones I read further on down the road. Because when I looked at this, I always thought this was going to be like about, the secret below 103rd Street. And when I look at this in the background, I always thought it was going to be like some kind of underground chud monster or something like that. This one came out in 1976 on Holloway House. And what it actually turns out is there's quite a bit of political intrigue and racial insight in it, because what it's really about is there's this doctor, his girlfriend, and a crew of revolutionaries that they connect with who set out to destroy several underground prisons that they found discovered in different ghettos throughout America. So this is kind of a little misleading if you're like me. When you look at this, you're like, what is that? Now, the book was originally titled The School on 103rd Street when it was put out by its first publisher. Holloway House actually was the second publisher. It was originally published still in 1976, but Vantage Press was the first publisher. And since it's been republished in later years, it's gone back to the original title of The School on 103rd Street. So again, political intrigue, racial insight. There's a situation that happens in the very beginning where some teenagers get killed. And this doctor, who kind of was like someone they held in high regard, the remaining cats go talk to him and say, hey, man, we found something in this school. And upon doing a little bit of further investigating, they kind of find out that that's why these kids have been killed, because of what they uncovered. The doc and his crew find out that what is happening is under this school is an underground prison, which they think the powers that be are going to use to incarcerate Black folk without people knowing. So, again, really good read, intriguing, and don't let the cover mislead you, because when looking at this cover, I did not see the story that it is. I didn't see that coming, and I was pleasantly surprised. One interesting thing about author Roland Jefferson is he actually wrote two Blaxploitation movies. He wrote Fast Black, aka Disco 9000, which is a pretty good movie. Probably cover it later on down the road. And he wrote Death Drug, which had Philip Michael Thomas in it. Fast Black had, I think it was John Poole was his name. I know Harold Nicholas was in there also. And it's interesting because I've seen both of those. And when I watched them, I didn't know that he had written them or was involved with them. In both of those movies, there's some scenes that they use the same footage. It's like a funeral scene. I remember specifically because I watched them kind of close to one another, and I see the same funeral scene. I'm like, man, that's the exact same thing. And so now it makes sense. Roland Jefferson wrote the screenplays for both of them, probably was involved. They probably, shot them, I don't know, very close together, but, totally makes sense now that they would reuse footage for his movies. Okay. So Secret Below 103rd Street. And then there's one thing I do want to read in here that I found is, you know, for all the young cats out there, this notion or this thing of when somebody comes in from out of town and they got to check in, that sometimes people think that that's something new that people start doing. But actually checking in when you go into a new city is not a new phenomenon. It's actually something that people would do out of respect. So let me just read you this little passage where the gang, when they're talking about, as they discover these prisons in different ghettos around the city, they want to go destroy them. And, as they're checking them out, they have this crew, and one guy in the crew is like, the lead says, hey, we need to get a different crew in each area. And one guy's like, why can't we just go? Why can't we all just go to each city? Why can't we, this group, go to every city? So what he says is, why we got to have new people in each city? Why can't the same people check each place out? Hell, that's just an added expense. Said Carter, his eye fixed on Niles' hair and shrouded face. Right on, Doc. But don't never go into another community without first getting someone from that community involved. Quickest way I know to get yourself killed. And so that is something that even back in the 70s, people knew that, hey, if you're going to do business, trying to, plant roots down and do something in a new city, new community, you want to check in, make sure to get somebody involved from there. So I just thought that was pretty cool. All right. So that's our book, The Secret Below 103rd Street. Check it out.